Welcome back to UMass Sports Weekly. Now joining me at the desk to talk the rest of UMass Athletics, JMS, Jesse Mayfield Sheehan. And to his left, are you still bringing contenders up, or are you guys mutual today? We'll see how it goes. Mark the Shark Daily. Mark, thanks for joining us, and good luck. No, I'm just kidding. Guys, so we know it's been a busy month for UMass Athletics, not just for UMass basketball, but also around the campus as well. First off, we got some big news in football we'll get to. First off, let's touch on the hockey team. Not having the season everyone saw for them, everyone hoped for them. A little bit of struggles. Last weekend, split a series against Merrimack. What did you see from the team, Jesse, in this series that maybe you kind of saw as like a nutshell for this team so far?
Well, the first game was fantastic. Come out scoring 3 goals in the first period and then finishing the game with 5 total goals. I thought they showed a lot of great offense in that game, but it was really a very un-UMass game. But it might have showed some of the things they've been developing with some of the line changes they've been trying to put in. Putting Iacobellis on the first line, moving Pereira down to the second line. Showed that hey, maybe this offense is starting to come together. Maybe they can turn into something. The second game out at Merrimack, they lost 3-2 on Saturday. That one was a bit of a step back to what they've been doing before, averaging only 2 goals a game, and that's just not enough to win in college hockey in the Hockey East right now. And what they're really looking to do is become a team that can average scoring 3 goals a game. And the question is which UMass team are we going to see going forward? Is it the one that's gradually been getting better and better, scoring 3 goals against Northeastern, scoring 5 in that game against Merrimack? Or is it the team that we just saw, only managing 2 goals against Merrimack? And, it's tough. It's tough taking a series split with a team that's dead last in Hockey East when you're, going down the stretch facing some of the top teams going forward, like Northeastern, UMass Lowell, and Providence.
Yeah, I think that's the story we've always had with this UMass team, is that they're just a fluctuating team. Some days they're really high and some days they're really low. And I think we saw that in the Merrimack series just last weekend. Just really like a nutshell for this team, what this season really has been. Mark, what did you take out of this Merrimack series?
Well, I think we definitely, this past weekend, we really saw an opportunity. We've always been used to the upperclassmen, the senior scoring. When you look at Michael Pereira, he's the newest member of the 50-100 club. He scored his 50th goal of his career this past Saturday in the 3-2 loss. That 50th goal also happened to be his 100th career point. So it was a milestone for him personally. But it was really an opportunity for the younger players on the team to really shine, to prove what they have. Guys like Shane Walsh, Ben Gallagher, Ray Pagozzi, and Steven Acabella. These are the freshmen and the sophomores that really going to need to step up. The team this upcoming season and looking towards next season, they lose a lot of talent. A lot of their top goal scorers and point leaders are definitely, unfortunately, they're graduating, they're moving on, and there's going to be a lot of question marks with the team. But going forward for the rest of the season, even this past weekend, UMass right now, they're 9th in Hockey East, 9 out of 12. So sparing some miracle that's going to happen. They're already going to start, I think they're going to start giving their younger guys a lot more experience on ice, allow them the opportunity to lead. So going forward for next year, you look at just after Friday night's game against BU this upcoming Friday, we don't play a team that right now is ranked any lower than number 10 in the nation. We play Northeastern twice, which is ranked 10th. We play UMass Lowell twice, ranked 8th in the country, and then Providence, which is ranked right now number 7 in the country. So it's going to be a real opportunity for these players to have some the opportunity to shine against some very good teams and hopefully start building the team for next year. We'd all love to see a miracle, but I don't think it's going to happen.
So you think that's a change that maybe the team should enact immediately with this team, is maybe try to get some of these younger guys the experience, so you're looking at a better team for next year instead of trying to make something happen this year?
Absolutely. I think they're going to settle with the losses they've already. They can't really dig themselves out anymore. Even if they went even if they won out the rest of the season, they're still going to be. They're not going to go any higher than about 5th in Hockey East, just the way the standings are and how low of few losses they have this season. So I definitely see it as an opportunity for them to come to realization with that and go forward from here on out, and only look to the present. And some of the teams we play going forward has an opportunity for these younger guys to really step up and and be a part of what's next for UMass hockey.
JMS, do you see changes like this coming and maybe being good for the team as well? Do you think there's some other alterations this team could make as the season goes on?
I do definitely see what you're saying, Mark. I do see the logic behind what you're saying, letting the younger guys definitely get some more playing time, as they will be losing a lot of impactful players. I mean, they're losing all of their, current top career scorers. They're losing Sherry, Gracel, and Pereira all at the end of this year. I mean, that was the entire first line last year. So I think it's definitely a lot of big losses they're looking forward to, at the end of this season.
No means are they going to quit. They're not going to.
No.
They're not going to just give up. But
I mean,
it's a shift. I think.
But going on your idea of like giving more opportunities to younger guys, I feel like we have seen a lot of opportunities being given to these guys. I mean, like I said, Jaco Bellis, he's already on the first line.
Yeah.
Pigozzi,
17 points halfway through his freshman year, and I mean that's pretty.
Yeah.
That's pretty unbelievable.
Exactly, and Ray Pigozzi, he's been on the second
Yeah,
line. He's
14,
been doing a
14
lot of great
points
stuff
this year.
He's been doing a lot of great stuff. Gallagher's been seeing plenty of playing time.
And
he looks solid.
When you talk about it, I mean, this is John Micheletto's first recruiting class that he's brought up, and these are guys that he recruited. That Toot Cahoon a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Previous to this, we've never seen. It was all old recruits. So this is the opportunity for his recruits to shine, and I think that's another thing. He has good relationships with these players that he's brought in. It's only going to build the name of UMass hockey, and it's going to...
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, that you definitely, going forward, it looks like Micheletto knows what he's doing when it comes to recruiting young talent. It looks like, we could see some very fun UMass hockey seasons coming forward. But I mean, for right now, for what you're talking about right now, do you, have the older guys step back and have the younger guys step forward, if I'm interpreting what you said correctly?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like, I get the logic behind it, and I get the logic behind almost like going into a rebuilding phase or something like that. But I mean, at the same time, these guys, they're still like students, they're still kids, they still want to play. And guys like Sherry and Gracel and Pereira, they've been, a large part of the UMass hockey their entire careers. I don't feel like you sit them any minutes when they haven't really,
Yeah.
you're
not going to bench them.
You're not going to like drop them down to the third or fourth.
No,
line
absolutely
or
not.
anything
But
like
you're gonna give those second, the third, and fourth lines, I think, a lot more opportunities to score. A lot more. This will be a lot more focus on them, getting them the puck and being able to
definitely an
take
opportunity
control
for the young guys to prove themselves,
Yeah.
and I think they've done a great job so far. But
I mean, you look at Connor Sherry. I mean, he's going to be a senior. He comes in. He has 96 career points. They're definitely going to look to get him up. They want him to have that same milestone that Pereira got. There's a couple other guys. They want to finish out these careers at UMass strong. So there's no way they're going to.
They want to give these guys the proper send-off, and that's absolutely what they're going to do.
So not the year that we all were looking for in this UMass hockey team, but what I'm getting is the future is very bright for these Minutemen on ice.
The possibilities there.
Definitely a lot of potential.
A lot of potential, a lot of good freshmen, good faces. Good to hear, guys. Hopefully we will see that continue on. Another place we are seeing a bright future is now with UMass football. Very somber first 2 years in Division I. Just 2 wins in their first 2 seasons. Hard to watch. The attendance wasn't there at Gillette either. Just not a lot of stuff you wanted to see entering the D1 phase of this football program. But a fresh new face at head coach, Mark Whipple, hired by the football team. Former head coach for UMass in the 90s, was the last coach for UMass to take them to a championship. And as me and JMS were talking about before this segment, he then went on to the Steelers and turned Ben Roethlisberger into a quarterback. Also helped them win a Super Bowl. So this is a guy with a pretty hefty resume, guys, that we are getting here back at UMass. A veteran of UMass coaching. A lot of good things here. Pretty much the polar opposite of a Charlie Molnar, who really did not help this program at all. JMS, what are your thoughts on this hiring, and what do you see for this program?
I mean, I can't undersell this. I love this hiring. I mean, like you said, Mark Whipple, he's the last guy who brought this team to a national championship. I mean, granted, that was when they were back in the FCS, but still, that says something.
Nonetheless.
I mean, one of the complaints when, UMass was moving up to Division 1A was, hey, this team isn't really doing that well in Division 1 AA. Well, Mark Whipple guided this team to be very successful in Division 1 AA, so maybe he can make them pretty competitive in Division 1A. And I mean, he's done it. He's coached in a lot of different places aside from just UMass, like you said. He's coached in the NFL. He was a quarterbacks coach, I believe, over on the Steelers, like we said. Ben Roethlisberger has now got 2 Super Bowl trophies. I mean, granted, he had great teams around him, but he was kind of quarterback, in those playoff situations that could lead his team to victory, as we saw in Super Bowl 40 against the Cardinals. So, that's Mark Whipple's resume right there. The guy has got a national championship with UMass, and he's helped develop a Super Bowl winning quarterback, which I think is really helpful given the state of UMass right now. I mean, we were talking all season long about the problems they were having at quarterback, how they couldn't seem to find that one guy who could turn into the franchise quarterback. Maybe this is the guy who comes in and helps develop somebody into that franchise quarterback that UMass so desperately needs.
That'd be great to see. I think that's the hopes of a lot of people right now, because that's really where the problems stem from. There's a lot of times our defense was there last year and put on some pretty impressive performances, but it was just quarterback problems all year between Wegson and Doyle. Hard to deal with. Mark, do you share our excitement on this hiring?
Absolutely. I mean, I think he has the experience that is going to be makes him a great coach at this level. We know he's won before. He has the experience in the NFL. But I think one of the biggest things that Jesse meant that he left out was the fact that the alumni love him. He is a very good model for the athletic department, for the UMass football image. And I mean, if he came and spoke at the basketball game on Sunday, and that place went nuts. The Mullins Center was rocking after he spoke. He came out, and as we know, the schedule has been released for next season. The first 2 games of the season are played at Gillette. The remaining 3 will be here in Amherst. And he guaranteed that there would be 3 wins in Amherst next year. They went crazy. And that's something that Charlie could never do. He never was able to wrap himself around the fans, around the alumni, the people that have the money that can support the program, bring in those top-name recruits. And this is what Mark Whipple has. And I think going forward, I think it's only going to go up for the program. And if we can get if we only get those 3 wins, that's still more than we've had in the last 2 years. So I mean, that's something to look forward to, I think, as well.
Yeah, I mean, you talk about earlier this year, all that controversy surrounding Molnar. I mean, a lot of it was, surrounding the alumni who, weren't happy with Molnar's coaching, weren't happy with his coaching methods, said he didn't appreciate, the history of UMass football. Well, here's a guy, like you're saying, the alumni love him. Yeah. He's been a coach at UMass in the past, so obviously he can appreciate the history if he's a part of it. So,
I mean, Charlie wasn't respected by his own players. It got to the point where, we don't know what happened behind the scenes. We don't know what happened in the locker room.
We saw some video.
We did see some video. And we heard from the alumni. We heard from NFL players that played here at UMass that were unhappy about that. Those alumni. He wasn't respected by his own players. Right after the season ended, you saw how many players filed to transfer to different schools. And then all of a sudden, Charlie's fired. Those guys they're returning their paperwork. Oh, I want to stay here at UMass. I have an opportunity to play. I want to play for Coach Whipple, and I think that's a big difference too that you didn't have with Charlie. And I mean, Charlie was a nice guy. He just wasn't meant for this program, I don't think.
Yeah, there was a lot of problems, a lot of controversy stemming from Molnar, and with football being such a coach-oriented sport, if the coaching isn't there, the team's just not going to be there.
Yeah.
So this new Whipple face, hopefully, he changes up the entire face of the program. We see some wins start coming in. He guaranteed the 3 wins in Amherst. So, a lot of high hopes for the UMass football team. As you mentioned, though, the 3 home games in Foxborough, 3 home games in Amherst, that's for another day, but I hate it. Absolutely hate it. I think it's a terrible idea. That's bad for the program. Whipple's great for the program, though. So I love that. Love Mark Whipple. Not going to hate on that. Guys, appreciate you joining me. Nice stuff here. Plenty more we could have talked about. We'll be sure to get to some more next week. Mark, great job. He held his own today, Jim. I think he's one of the top contenders I've seen. Well, and thank you as well for joining us at home. As always, follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Sports Weekly. Also, check us out on Facebook. Like our page, UMass Sports Weekly. There you can catch full episodes and segments. And as always, we will be here next week, same time, same place.